So as I was saying, right? As I was saying, how is it possible that a team trades their super duper mega star in the middle of the night after making the finals and is constantly battling to stay out of the play-in tournament? How is it possible that team does not have the worst vibes in the league? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are a fucking catastrophe, folks. On the basketball court, it doesn't make sense. I understand. You look at their team and it's like, yeah, they have a lot of shortcomings as a roster. You know, their front court is awful. Their depth in general is not very good. They're overly reliant on one-dimensional players. They're overly reliant on guys like, Tyus Jones, who's horrible defensively. D-Book has not looked like himself this year. KD's getting older. Like, they're paying Bradley Beal $50 million. Like, yeah, there's some roster deficiencies across the board. But could anybody have expected 27 and 32? Realistically? 5 games under 500? I mean, could anybody have actually really predicted this with 20 games left? 2-8 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. It extends well beyond that. They're losing funk that they're on is actually crazy. My God, they're 3-11 in their last 14 games? Jesus. And it has now reached the point where it's gotten very toxic. They're talking in the media. They're shitting on the coach. Budenholzer feels like he's going to get fired in the summer. I've seen Suns fans who are like, Budenholzer sucks. Get his ass out of here. Budenholzer stinks. This will be 3 coaches in 3 years. Matt Ishbia will have now fired 3 coaches. There's a common phrase. If everywhere you go smells like shit, maybe it's time to check the bottom of your shoe. If you're going to be going on coach number 4 now, maybe it's time to look within. Here's a Haynes brief. Give it to us, Haynes. Put your briefs on.
Chris Haynes with your Haynes brief for today. I was told that weeks ago, Mike Budenholzer called his star guard Devin Booker into his office to issue a complaint. And that complaint, I'm told, was that Booker was being too vocal on the court and during timeout huddles. He implored his star guard to tone it down to allow for the coach's voice to be heard. This completely shocked Booker, I was told. Now, after the Suns lost Thursday to the Pelicans, which saw them lose their 10th game in the last 12, Booker spoke publicly about how the lack of communication is hurting the team.
It could be fixed with just a little bit more talking, I say. Things get tough. We get quiet as a team, and, from my experience and what I've seen, that's not the way to get through it. Skipping over the details and, always taking the, get them next game mentality. At some point you got to draw a line, and should have been drawn a long time ago. I'd rather 2 people say the wrong thing to each other out there than nobody talk at all and leave the gray area. So it's like any job or any group project that you do, you have to do it together. Yeah, I always look at myself first, but I also talk a lot.
Oh, my God.
This is Chris Haynes, and you've been briefed.
You've been briefed. Boom, baby. 20-second outro. 10-second intro, 20-second outro for a minute 50 clip. Do the math on that. Thank you for the brief. So, this is just insane to me. One, that's kind of an insane thing for a coach to say, right? I want to take you back in time to last year. There was a report that Frank Vogel, who I do think is a good coach, but obviously the Suns hated him. There was a report a year ago. Suns players had to hold back laughing at Frank Vogel outbursts before the playoffs. Frank Vogel went into an angry tirade both both after his Phoenix Suns lost to the Los Angeles Clippers on April 9th, a game that saw them fall into a 35-4 deficit, and during the next day's shoot-around, according to Athletic Shams Charania. But Suns players thought the outbursts were forced and out of character, per that report. It even left players rolling their eyes, sources briefed on the matter told The Athletic. One player even told The Athletic he had to keep from laughing. So this was a year ago. They had to keep from laughing from Frank Vogel ripping into the team. This year, they're getting into it with Mike Budenholzer. Maybe it's time to check the bottom of your shoes, guys. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. You guys are kind of like the mainstays. Maybe it's time to check the bottom of the shoes. Make sure you don't have some shit on it. Because it stinks. It stinks everywhere you go. Everywhere. Everywhere. So you not freak out, but there's a scorpion on your arm. I thought about what would be a cool superpower. Imagine if, like, you had a character that had a bunch of tattoos and stuff on their arm, and they could make them come to life. So if I could just make this snake come to life and then throw it at you, and then it comes back to me and goes onto my arm. Wouldn't that be sick? Anyways. Also Monty, yes. Tim, welcome to the Slightly Delusional Club. Bro, never seen Moana. I haven't. Is that Moana? All right, cool. That's a comic book character. It didn't seem original enough in my brain. A DC villain. All right. It didn't. Whenever I thought of it, I was like, it seems like that's probably been done. Like that wasn't like a groundbreaking thought. Anyways, let's get back to this. So this also leads to, well, this very awkward situation that has arisen. During the trade deadline, the Phoenix Suns were very openly shopping Kevin Durant. In fact, it got to the point where Kevin Durant was probably about to get traded to the Golden State Warriors, but he said he did not want to get traded midseason, and it didn't happen. But by all reports, that trade was close. Reader for the $4.99. Keep it up, King. You're on the cusp of blowing TF up. I almost got Centelled. Wait, Centell's back? Wow, I didn't know Centell was back. I literally almost got Centelled. Wendy reported on ESPN yesterday that Kevin Durant's going to get traded in the summer. It's basically a foregone conclusion. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it feels like a foregone conclusion. The Suns are going to trade KD in the summer. And today we're going to rank the possible destinations. Booker is interesting. Booker's interesting. I don't think there's a 0% chance Booker's going to get traded. In fact, I think there's a probably 20 to 30% chance in my if I just had to give a confidence meter. What if Devin Booker gets traded? All right. These will be the trade destinations for KD. Let's just start in the bottom tier. No chance. Teams like Charlotte. Like, let's be real, Charlotte. Absolutely no chance. Kevin Durant would say yes to going to the Charlotte Hornets. Nets, how bad was that breakup? Let's say the Nets go to the Suns and are like, hey, we want a star. Fuck it. We'll take on KD. That feels almost like a no chance type of thing, right? We'll put him in no chance. Pistons? I'm mainly thinking about like the shitty teams here, like Utah, no chance. Let's be real. Is that those are really the teams that I could confidently say I see no chance. whatsoever that KD would go to them. What if the Nets signed Kyrie Irving in free agency then trade for KD? Wizards. I'm not putting the Wizards there only for one reason. Hometown team. I think KD has openly said he wouldn't want to play for his hometown team. But we have to include them. I think there was even a Portland, and no chance. Yeah. I think there was even a back in the day he said no. Yeah. There was one of those tweets. I was like, the odds to bring on Kevin Durant next year if it's not the Phoenix Suns, and Washington was the favorite. Hometown team, but no way, realistically. But no way. But let's get serious. Let's spell serious right, guys. Okay. Katie's from the DC area. Can't get a deal done here. Yeah, the next one would be would be fun, but can't do it. Oh, wait. I'm putting the Suns in the no chance tier. I don't think there's a world in which he's on the Suns next year. Not a world. So which teams do we think are completely and totally hamstrung and like not able to accomplish this trade? I don't think there's actually too many of them. No, I think... I mean, couldn't Philly do Paul George and like a bunch of picks? I don't think the Suns would go for that, but no, the Nuggets could do it, realistically. It would really depend on what KD's market is. I'm trying to think of just like teams that straight up do not have the contracts to make it work. Lakers are yeah. How do they accomplish that? How do the Lakers accomplish that? Bucks. Reeves, Rui, Maxey, and picks. That's true. Maybe this shouldn't be a tier, because I think all of these teams could do it if they wanted to. Boston, but what if Boston flames out and they're like, dude, fuck, we kind of need to get off this Jaylen Brown contract, but we still want to win. Is that possible with the Celtics are in the second apron, Suns are the second apron? Is that possible? Are their contracts like a direct match? We don't want to do the math tier? Okay, that's good. We don't want to do the math. I like that. That's like, we're going to have to trade one of our best players to make this even happen. Celtics. The Lakers. I'm not going to lie, though. You guys are saying it, Reeves. But yeah, I agree with you. That KD is not what they need. I think the Cavs probably belong here as well. What do you guys think? The Cavs would have to trade one of their core four. We don't want KD. I'm not going to lie. I could convince myself all of these teams take a shot on KD. Cavs look too good currently to consider it. Yeah. I don't want to put the Bucks here because I think if there's like a Damian Lillard for KD scenario that works out, I think they would do it. I just don't know if the Suns would do it. Like the Nuggets would absolutely do it. MPJ, a trade sent around MPJ. Here's one I was thinking about last night. And I want to know how you guys feel about this. the Clippers. Let's say the Clippers look at their situation and say, man, we just can't rely on Kawhi Leonard. We just cannot rely on Kawhi Leonard. And the Suns say, man, we're losing Kevin Durant, but we still want to compete. We don't have our picks. Like, we still want to compete. A Kevin Durant for Kawhi swap. Would that not be kind of interesting? The Suns get to at least convince themselves, because here's the thing. If you're asking why the Suns would do that, I'm trying to think of how this is going to play out. I don't think there's, like, my brain tells me Booker's going to see all this shit happen and be like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what's going on here? I'm going to be real with you. I don't want to be a part of this shit right now. This roster's fucked. Our situation is dire. So I don't know if, with Ishbia, we know how Ishbia is. It's very possible this could be a 2K level rebuild. Like, there's a billion trades and the roster is just completely different by the start of next season. Or there's a world where Ishbia does not want to be a rebuilding team, does not want to 3 years into his ownership tenure, 4 years into his ownership tenure, completely and totally tear his team down and wants to remain competitive. And the idea of Kawhi Leonard next to Booker is interesting. Because I could see a world, and I was thinking about this last night too, and I was thinking about the Clippers. I could see a world where the Suns say, we could actually get ourselves out of this. How? Booker to the Rockets for all of our picks back. We trade Kevin Durant for picks and pawn off whatever other spare parts we have. Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen. And we have our picks back. We got picks for Kevin Durant. We're like rebuilding now. We got some young players from the Rockets. The Suns are done with stars. They want lots of good role players. Yeah, just buy out KD at this point. So that's something I was kind of thinking about. I don't know, Ishbia being the absolute fucking maniac that he is, the absolute lunatic that he is, I kind of feel like a rebuild would be a little bit more insane than we're making it out to be. What up, fellow ball knowers? Hezzy Tween Enjoyer here. I'm going to make another tier. Would be interested. Interested? That really interested can't fit on a single line? Seriously? He's doing the same with the Mercury. I really don't think he wants to rebuild. No, he doesn't want to rebuild. Okay, guys, let's get our thesaurus out. I don't think intrigue's going to fit either. Why would Suns say yes? How about that? This is a tier that I think is important. Why would the Suns say yes to whatever package you're offering them? I think this probably includes teams like the 76ers, right? Because that trade would have to include Paul George. And at that point, it's like, why the fuck? Need a tier of why KD would say yes. And that's what this tier is, basically. Because, if the Jazz said, you know what? We're tired of being bad. Let's go. Let's trade, 6 picks for Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant's like, I'm not signing with you guys. Fuck off. Paul George plus the 6th pick. That's actually kind of interesting. I still don't think they would say yes to that. Right? Paul George plus picks. Is that enough, you guys think? Atlanta. What tier would we find themselves in? Let's have let's start printing the jerseys. These are teams that I absolutely think will be a player for Kevin Durant, and then we'll have the last tier be what? Desperate. That's where I'd put like the Mavericks. Could be desperate enough. How about that? Where would we put Atlanta in this mix? KD says no tier is better. All right, how about this? KD says no. There you go. Would KD say no to Atlanta? Probably, right? Yes. I think there's a world where KD could be intrigued by Atlanta, but yeah, I don't know. Chicago. Why the fuck would KD want to be in Chicago? Let's not waste any time there. Mavericks could be desperate enough is where I'm putting them right now, although I think they have an argument for the top tier. The only reason why I say that is I do think they're going to make a push for a big-time player this year. I do think they're going to make a push for a big-time player in the summer. Who that ends up being, I'm not sure. Could be a player that we don't even think about who's on the market right now. But if the Suns say, we want to rebuild around Booker, we just need some solid role guys. That's what we need. The Mavericks package is interesting. It is. The only thing is the Mavericks would have to completely and totally gut their rotation. ATL got nothing to trade unless they're out of the trade business. Yeah, that's true as well. Which, again, I kind of think if I'm the Suns and I'm jumping off of KD, is Trey really the direction I want to go? Like, I'm going to have Trey and Booker? It would have to be a 3-team trade with some of the Mavs role guys going elsewhere. I'm a little bit in between here. Nuggets. Do not sleep on the Nuggets in this saga. Do not sleep on the Nuggets. I don't know what their trade would look like necessarily because, you know, they don't have too many really intriguing young guys. Christian Brown's been really solid this year. Their pick situation's a little weird. What do they have, like one pick to trade? Low on draft picks. MPJ's contract is not an exciting one to think about taking. But I think Suns are desperate for a point guard. They'd take Trey. Would the Suns take Jamal Murray? I'm mainly saying don't sleep on them because if KD was really made available, I think the Nuggets would make a push for him. The question is MPJ, like, that contract's bad, right? Like, that's just straight up a bad contract at this point. Jamal Murray, would that, like, move a needle at all for them, for the Suns? Why would Denver trade Murray for KD, though? Let's assume the Nuggets lose round 1, maybe round 2 in the playoffs. Let's say, you know, Jamal Murray's one of the craziest playoff risers in a long time. But let's just say Jamal Murray has an okay postseason. Maybe the Nuggets look at it and are like, man, Jamal Murray's not reliable enough. Who would run the point if Jamal leaves, though? That's another problem. Imagine a Kyrie and picks for Booker swap. That would be crazy. I'm like, I think Nuggets are in. Why would Suns say yes? I'm thinking about it now. Right? Nuggets offers worse than the Sixers. I agree. I think they're in the same boat. Pistons. I don't think the Pistons would want an older Kevin Durant, right? That would be great though if the Pistons were like, dude, this season was awesome. Let's fucking go. Let's go for it next year. That would be sick. What would that even look like contractually for them? Would KD say no to the Pistons? Are we 100% sure about that? Pistons mean Suns turn KD into Tobias Harris and Isaiah Stewart. Yeah, that's kind of gross. Make it here. A young team don't want to rush rebuild. I'll just add it to this tier. We don't want to do the math / we're not / too soon in our rebuild. We'll just add these all these teams that probably wouldn't be all that interested. Why would Suns say yes? Well, if the Pistons attach like a bunch of picks and shit, is mainly where I'm getting at. Maybe like one young guy in there. Warriors. So I do find it interesting, I have to say, that after all this trade deadline saga went down, KD made it a point to say, hey, I didn't say no to the Warriors because I didn't want to go back to Golden State. I just didn't want to get traded midseason. KD said no, but according to KD, it was because he didn't want to get traded midseason, not because he didn't want to go to the Warriors. I found it interesting he said that. That could just be PR talk, right? But I do find that interesting. Now that Wiggins and all that's gone for Jimmy Butler, the trade would have to include Draymond. So we know KD doesn't like Draymond. But if the trade included Draymond, now what? How possible do we think that is? How possible do you think that is? Suns did trade Nurkic. That's true. They were prepping. The Suns knew they had to get ahead of this. They had to get Nurkic out of the locker room before Draymond got there. Draymond, JK, Moody, and 3 picks. Why would the Suns do that, though? That's not a bad return at all. Warriors are not trading Draymond. I wouldn't be so sure. I would not be so sure. Now, this is assuming if the Warriors make like a decent run in the playoffs, I think they probably just run it back. People thought the Warriors weren't letting go Clay either. Yeah, I don't think it's impossible. Where do we put them? I mean, it's people getting traded that have never been getting traded before. That's true. That's also true. Could be desperate enough. Does that sound right? They might not be desperate, but let me return to them. The Rockets. KD doesn't make sense to me for them. He's too old. Don't want to do the math. Kind of makes sense for the Rockets. They're a Booker team. Like that's clear as day to me. They are a Devin Booker team. They're baiting the Suns. They have their picks. They're looking at the Suns and saying, if you guys want to do a real rebuild, if you guys really want to rebuild, Really are done with this shit? We're ready. We are ready. You can have your picks back. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about tanking and not having your pick. I don't like the verbiage here. Could be desperate enough. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change the verbiage. Fan base refreshes. Dude, why doesn't that fit? Every 5 seconds. There we go. I think that's it. Fan base refreshes Twitter every 5 seconds. They're involved. There's reports that they're involved. Do you take steroids every day, or is it once a month kind of thing? Multiple times a day. Yeah, multiple times a day. I'm interested. I really want to know what the vibe is in Golden State. Like, are Warriors fans in on this still or no? Was the Jimmy trade like the end of it for them or what? If we're changing this to fan base refreshes to every 5 seconds, I think the Rockets end up there. Because it'll be talked about. As an Al Lakers fans, I do not know the vibes in Golden State. I think they'll be here. I think they'll be involved. I do. That's not a bad package either. And I think it kind of makes sense for both teams. Like, you're really going for it now. Like, now you're really going for it in the last years of Steph's career. Where just a year or so ago, it felt like, you were just going to let Steph, unfortunately, ride off into the sunset on a shitty team. Why are you using Microsoft Edge? I had to completely and totally reset my Windows because it was fucking bricked for some reason. Had to completely and totally reset my Windows. And in the process of that, I had to reset everything. And I don't know. This is just where I'm at. Microsoft Edge. What's better? I don't like Opera very much. It consumes so much memory, I feel like. Rockets. Chrome. Possibility of trading Katie and Book together. That feels very insane. Firefox is the GOAT. All right, maybe I'll install Firefox. Brave is the best. All right, maybe I'll install Brave. DuckDuckGo. Not going to install DuckDuckGo. What the fuck? I'm putting Rockets and fan base refreshes to every 5 seconds. Pacers. They need a consolidation trade. They have way too many rotation pieces as is. KD says nah. Does he like for sure say no to Indiana? Usually group tabs on the browser. No, I did that on accident. I did that on accident. I'm really unking it up here today. Pacers and Grizzlies are on the same boat. The Grizzlies are a little bit more interesting. KD not an Indiana guy. Man, that seems a little fucked up to group Indiana with these other teams. I'm not sure the Pacers would want to do that. We'll put them there. We'll put them there. That just seems a little bit weird for the Pacers. Clippers. I'm telling you guys. I'm thinking in my brain. I'm trying to get into the brain of Matt Ishbia. Trying to get into the brain of Matt Ishbia. I want to still be competitive. I have been probably the most insane GM/owner not named Nico Harrison of the last 4 or 5 years. I want to still compete. I want to still sell my fans that I'm trying to compete. KD for Kawhi Leonard. I think the Clippers might do it. For the Clippers, you do that, right? Right? The Clippers do that. Why would the Suns say yes? If it's KD, what's the pick situation in Los Angeles for the Clippers? We're like reaching the point where they should have some future first should start opening up for them. Kawhi and picks. Harden for KD. I don't think they would do that. I think they'd want to keep Harden. Kawhi is untradeable. His medical condition is worsening. His elite defense is no longer there. I want to put them in why would the Suns say yes? But I could see a world where they do. Like, Paul George and picks, I don't know. That's a tough sell. That's a tough sell. Hey, Suns fans, come out this season. We've got Bradley Beal and Paul fucking George. If it's the Clippers, it has to be Harden. All right, we're just going to go with why would Suns say yes. Grizzlies. We know the Grizzlies were uber aggressive at the trade deadline. They wanted Jimmy. Wasn't there reports that they were in on KD? They were, right? They were. Didn't Bob Myers said it, right? Print the jerseys. I'm not going to lie to you. I could see this. Now, the reason why they were so aggressive at the deadline is because they had some expiring contracts to play around with. They did end up trading Marcus Smart. What does their salary table look like going into next year, though? Like we have to factor that in. How easy is it for teams to get to $50 million? This is a potential Kevin Durant trade destinations tier list. How easy is it for a team like the Grizzlies to get to $50 million? Katie saying Book getting traded. That would be interesting. Brandon Clark's making 12. Oh, this isn't really doable for them unless it's Ja. Yeah, it's Ja. That would be fucking insane. Do you think the Grizzlies would do that? That would be crazy. $54 million, but only have to match within 25%, so about $41 million to match. They still can't do that without trading one of their big three guys. Yeah, Brandon Clark's making $12 million next year. John Conchar, $6 million. Zach Edey, $6 million, and then it's a bunch of $2 million guys. They worried about Ja a la Luka. But is the return for Ja KD, though? I mean, that would be crazy. So there's a world where obviously everyone's laughing at Nico Harrison of the Mavs, rightfully so. But there's a world where GMs look at this and they say, okay, so So it's been established we can trade our young guys that we're annoyed with. It's been established. We can trade our young guys. That we're annoyed with. I don't think GMs want the Nico backlash. All right, so here's my question, and I don't live in Memphis. I'm not a Grizzlies fan. Saw that you've gotten enough sleep lately. Looking good. Hey, thank you, bro. Thank you for that, man. Let's say the Grizzlies. Would Grizzlies losing in the second round be disappointing for them? I kind of feel like it wouldn't. I kind of feel like they'd be like, all right. Let's say the Grizzlies lose in the first round. Right? Grizzlies lose in round 1. Or Grizzlies lose in the second round and they're not competitive. How about that? They lose in a second round series in 5 games and it wasn't competitive at all. How upset would their fan base be realistically? Assuming John Morant wasn't great in the postseason or wasn't good enough. How about that? How upset would they be as a fan base if they traded John Morant? I don't think it would compare to trading Luka. I think it would be like all right, I get it. I'm putting them in the F5 tier. I could see it, and I think if you're the Suns, hell yeah. But if you do trade Ja though, is KD what you want in return? Are you going the KD route, or would you go for the more picks and young stuff in return? Like if I'm trading Ja and I'm on the phone with the Suns, I don't know if KD's the guy I'm talking about. Miami Heat start printing the jerseys. I mean, this just makes so much fucking sense, does it not? I mean, is the writing kind of on the wall? There's a world where it's like, Phoenix, what am I getting here? What am I getting if I'm the Suns? Okay, I'm getting Rozier, Wiggins, Jovic, and Jaime. That's not horrible. Jaquez, Jovic picks plus salaries. Maybe I could talk myself into Wiggins being a good role guy for us. Plus picks. Why would the Suns say yes? Well, one thing we have to consider here is the Suns have fucked themselves. The Suns were openly trying to trade Kevin Durant. It's an open secret now. KD is going into the last year of his contract, so KD does hold the cards here. KD can say, hey, don't trade me here. I'm not going to sign. I'm not going to sign with you. And this isn't a Donovan Mitchell situation. Because anytime that gets brought up, people bring up Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was young. Donovan Mitchell had, 2 years, I think, left on his contract? And you basically had to call his bluff and say, really? You're not going to sign this mega extension with us? KD's older. So if his list of teams is like 3 and the Heat are on there, it's not a terrible return. The Bucks. I could see the Bucks being interested in a trade like this. But I'm kind of also like, what do they realistically have to offer that the Suns would be in on? Suns say no. I kind of agree. What do the Bucks have to give? I mean, would it... Would it not be Dame? Kuzma and Portis? What's their pick situation? Don't they only have one? Kuzma and Portis. All right, I'm sorry. Kuzma, come on. Minnesota Timberwolves. All right. So we've reached an interesting portion. Julius Randle, obviously. Picks, whatever else. Maybe even McDaniels. Maybe in McDaniels instead of Julius Randle. I'm of the belief that McDaniels' contract fucking stinks. I don't know. I honestly I haven't kept up with Jay McDaniels. I don't know if that's become a popular opinion or not, but I feel like this could happen, honestly. Nico is begging for Kuzma. Yeah, that's a bad look. What would it be? What would it be? Julius Randle in what? Or Jaden McDaniel in what? Randle, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Conley. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's a free agent, I think. And I don't think they can do signing trades. I'm just trying to think about, like, contractually, how do you make it work? I'm not saying, like, who would the Suns say yes to? I'm saying contractually, how do you get there? KD could have turned to a point forward similar to James in his older years, but he lacks the IQ, strength, and integrity. What does integrity got to do with this? I think it's just kind of like a skill thing. I don't know how much integrity has to do with it. I'm interested. I'm interested in this. We'll put them in the F5 tier. I think that they would be interested. Pelicans, the only reason I haven't put them in a tier yet because I there's no way either team says yes, but Zion for KD, but I think KD, there's no way KD wants to go to New Orleans. The Knicks, I just don't, that's not a move I'd see the Knicks making, right? We don't want to do the math. They go in this tier right here. Right? I mean, right? I don't think the Knicks would be in on something like this. Doesn't really seem like something they need. Unless the Knicks get knocked out early. I guess that's true. We always got to think about if this team disappoints, it's a whole nother conversation, but we could revisit the Knicks potentially. The Thunder. The Thunder. What do we do with them? I don't think they would do it, right? Roster way too expensive. And I just think if you're making that trade, I'm not sure they have to include one of their like big three guys, but just in terms of your future salary outlook, I think you'd almost have to. OKC if they lose in the second round already. But if I'm OKC and I'm making a big trade, is it for a guy like Kevin Durant? So next year, the Thunder. Let's look at their salaries. J-Dub would pretty much have to be included, but he's not even... J-Dub is still at $6 million next year. So contractually, I guess you could actually figure this out. You could actually figure this out. Caruso, Dort, and Joe get you close, actually. Caruso, Dort, and Joe do get you pretty close. I think you could just like attach Wiggins. So you wouldn't have to include any of your three big players. Don't you wish this on me? It is interesting. Because let's say the Thunder flame out again. And it's like, oh my God. Okay. We don't think J-Dub is like somebody we can realistically rely on. Like, let's just be honest with ourselves. I know we like to think our window is so big, but maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't. Maybe we need to seriously consider moving on from KD. Or moving on and like really bolstering our roster, maybe moving on from J-Dub. But I just don't think 37 years old is just such a big timeline difference. Such a big timeline difference. I don't think they would do it. It's interesting to me though. The Magic, I could see the Magic being interested. I could see the Magic. It kind of goes against anything that they've ever done. They're not a team that makes ginormous splash decisions. Next year, contractually, you've got Franz. Suggs is at $35 million. KCP's $21 million. You could get there, actually, without really cutting into your team in any serious way. See Orlando going for a guard. Yeah, that it would be kind of awkward. Paolo, Franz, and KD. You'd be so big. And also they're kind of similar to like the Rockets, right? Where it's, all right, if I'm on the phone with you, I'm going over my trade package that I'm potentially offering. I'm not talking about KD. I'm talking about D-Book. Like if I'm on the phone with you and I'm talking picks, I'm talking X, Y, and Z, we're talking about Devin Booker. I want a younger guard. I don't want a 36-year-old Ford. Is there actually a Shams nuke? Let me revisit them. Kings. I absolutely think the Kings would make a play for him. But it's what would the package be? We're talking DeRozan. We're talking Levine. That doesn't sound that fun to me if I'm the Phoenix Suns. And I don't even think their pick situation is great, right? They got some picks back from the Fox trade. The Raptors have waived PJ Tucker. I'm putting the Magic in here. I don't even know why I'm fucking around with it. The Magic wouldn't do that. Kings, I think, are why would the Suns say yes category. Levine and Booker would be insane. Yeah, you're talking like Levine and Booker, DeRozan and Booker, like Levine, DeRozan, Beal. Booker, DeRozan, and Beal. What a team that would be, huh? What a team that would be. Spurs. All right, let's talk the Spurs over really quickly here. Similar situation to some of these other teams. All right, if I'm on the phone with the Suns, I'm not sure that I'm talking about Kevin Durant. Who's stopping this team graphic? Yeah, that is a who's stopping this team. Katie's already said he'd play for them. There's no shot. I agree there's no shot. They could get there pretty easily contractually. You'd have Fox, Wemby, and KD. That's a team that could win next year for sure. Especially if Wemby takes like an MVP type of leap. What if there's a world? Let me talk through this. What if there's a world where KD's nowhere near as expensive as we think? Like, let's say the Suns are like, yeah, we'll do Vassell, Barnes, and a first. Like, that's it. That's all we really want. $25 million. No, I'm not talking about his contract. I'm talking about his what it costs to sign him. What it costs to trade for him. Sorry, my bad. Now, the only problem is you're going to have to extend Fox this offseason. So you're going to have to pay him. Assuming he's probably going to want the max, right? You're going to have to pay him. Wemby's going to get the max. You're 2 years away from that. So your roster is about to get expensive. I could see a world where this happens, actually. Mavs might have won the title last year with Kuzma instead of PJ. Man, what the fuck? What? I'm gonna put them up here. I don't think it's impossible. Raptors, Katie says no, right? So this is where we ended up with. Is Miami, the Miami Heat are like the team where I close my eyes and that's what I see. Right? Is there any team from here we think we could pump up a level? Add Mavs to tier 1. We're just saying that. The reality is the Mavs would have to cut so deep into their rotation that close your eyes and imagine Jason Tatum. That was so fucking funny. Colin Cowherd is so fucking funny. Mavs tier 1. All right. But then I kind of feel like I have to move the Warriors up to tier 1. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on the Nuggets. We're literally just saying this because I'm a Mavs fan. There's really no chance, right? Don't be surprised they trade Tatum for KD. I'm trying to close my eyes and imagine Jason Tatum right now. I don't see him in a Suns jersey. Nuggets will go for Booker. They wouldn't have what it takes to get Booker. Wolves tier 1. Yeah, the Wolves one's weird though, because like it's hard to get there contractually. I mean, it's hard to get there for the Mavs contractually. I could see it though with the Wolves. I could see it with KD though. How much does the salary cap fluctuate from year to year? Shouldn't it be going up since that massive media deal? I don't know. I'm kind of R-worded. No, it's going to go up. It's not like we won't see like a giant cap spike like you saw in 2016. Wolves tier 1. The Wolves kind of fit the billing, right? Kind of desperate. This is going to be so interesting to see how this plays out. I'm so intrigued by this. Part of me just feels like it's a foregone conclusion, Miami. But you never know with this type of shit. Suns and Rockets feel destined to trade. I can't imagine them going on without any of their picks. Yeah, that feels like a Booker thing. That feels like the Suns saying, all right, it's time. Or the Suns trading KD and Booker being like, yo, I kind of want to. It might be time to see what's out there. What will happen to Beal? Beal's ass will stay with the Phoenix Suns. Beal's ass will stay with the Phoenix Suns. So is there... How do the Warriors get there? Because I'll move them up one, but how do they get there? Does it have to be Draymond? Or could they do a Kuminga? It has to be Draymond, right? It has to be. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's possible. I think it's possible, but Mavs get KD, Rockets get Booker, send it. Yeah, Kuminga would have to be sign and trade. I don't think they can aggregate sign and trades. So you'd have to be, it's actually impossible. Kuminga can't make that much money. Could you see the Cavs trading the Meat Master for KD? No, I can't see them trading the Meat Master for him. Meat Master's off the table. Do you guys think the Timberwolves should be bumped up one to print the jerseys? I think I'm okay with this. So KD for sure says no to the Hornets, Nets, I'm assuming, Jazz, Trailblazers, Suns, Hawks, Bulls, Pelicans, Raptors. Why the fuck would KD want to spend the end of his career on any of those teams? God bless them all. Hometown team, but let's get serious, Wizards. These are the teams that either just kind of in a weird spot with their rebuild and wouldn't want a 36-year-old, or teams that contractually make it really awkward to make a deal happen. Celtics, Lakers, Cavs, Pistons, Pacers, Knicks, Thunder, Magic. Why would the Suns say yes? These are teams that I do think would be desperate enough to make a play, but probably don't have an interesting package. The Sixers, now let me think about the Sixers a little tiny bit here. Let me think about them just a tiny bit. Would it absolutely have to be Paul George? Yes, it would. I'm looking at it right now. Okay. They literally, their contract salary, their salary cap table is hilarious. Embiid, $55 million. Nope. Paul George, $51 million. Nope. Tyrese Maxey, $37. I mean, you're not trading him. And then it drops. Oubre, $8. Andre Drummond, $5. Like, it'd have to be one of them. Paul George or Bradley Beal? Oh, my God. That is terrorism right there. Paul George is a top 5 pick. If they get lucky in the... So, okay. The Sixers get the 5th overall pick. Good draft. Good draft. We know that. Sixers get the 5th overall pick. Do you consider Paul George for in the 5th overall pick if you're the Suns? Like, do you consider it? That's actually kind of interesting. I mean, but if you're the Suns, it's like Booker for sure asks out, right? What about Booker to Mavs thoughts? No, the Mavs don't have a package for D-Book. Booker, Paul George, and Bradley Beal. Man, that is hilarious. Who's your most improved player of the year this year? Cade Cunningham. I wouldn't want to go anywhere near that 76ers team. So if you're KD, now let's look at this from another side. If you're KD, okay, wherever I'm going next is probably where I'm ending my career. Probably where I'm ending my career, right? You would think, at least. Who the fuck knows? It's Kevin Durant. Do I look at Philly and say that's a situation I can win in? I mean, KD and Tyrese Maxey is a good duo. And let's just hope Embiid plays 40, 50 games. If you're the Sixers, you keep the pick to rebuild with Tyrese. When you start bringing up radical surgeries to save your career, it's over. That's actually a good point, too. If you're the Sixers and you get the 5th overall pick, if you're the Sixers and get a top 5 pick, it might just make sense for you to hold on to that. Most improved player on the Mavs is Gaff, right? Yeah, probably. Actually, almost certainly has to be Gaff. Denver Nuggets, why would the Suns say yes? Michael Porter Jr.'s contract. Jamal Murray, maybe. Clippers. I think this was you guys. I think the Kawhi thing could be a little bit more interesting than you guys think. Mavs at 6 with a 199. Is KD Mavs trade possible without PJ? I thought we mapped it out into a way that it was, but everyone seems to think no. Everyone seems to think Lively would be involved. I do not think KD would be that expensive. I really don't. I don't think that would be the case. So you got AD 54 mil.
Santa Cruz versus Ford Maverick.
What the fuck is that? You got AD at 54 million, Kyrie at 43. So Clay and Gafford. Let's pull a calculator up. I mean, what the hell was that? All right. 16.666. Wow, it's a whole lot of sixes. 16.6 plus 14.3. You're at 30 million right then and there, Clay and Gaff. Oh, man. Plus 9.5. You're at 40 million right there. No, I actually think... Oh... I actually think it's possible. You need a third team, which these type of deals always include a third team. I think it's possible, but you seriously would have nobody left on your roster. I mean, you would be the Phoenix Suns, part 2. I know, I'm going to add Hardy. Hold on, I need to see for sure what Katie's number is. 54 million. So who are we adding? Have we even talked about Najee? All right, add Najee plus 9, and then add Hardy plus 6. You do get there. You do get there with all of those guys: Clay, Gafford, Caleb, Najee, and Hardy. So you're trading 5 guys, right? So there's gonna have to be a third team involved, right? There's gonna have to be a third team involved. Now, why would the Suns do this? Well, you could look at it and say, I'm still trying to be competitive. I've got Gafford now. I've got Caleb Martin. I've got Najee. It's not that good of a... Now that I'm saying it out loud. It's not that good of a team. It's not that good of a package. Is KD really that valuable? So if this were something that were possible... The Mavs could roll out a starting 5 of Kyrie Irving, Max Christie, PJ Washington, or actually, PJ would probably come off the bench in this scenario, and your starting 5 would be Kyrie, Max Christie, KD, AD, Derek Lively, and a closing group would probably be... Wow. That team would be fucking stacked. I mean, that is a stupid-ass team. That is a stupid-ass team. You'd be big, and then you could close. It's crazy to say you could close with Lively off the court, but you could close with Kyrie, Christie, PJ, AD, and KD. You could even close with Kyrie, PJ, KD, AD, and Lively and just be goddamn massive. But you wouldn't really have any point of attack defenders. But then all of a sudden I'm looking at this and I'm saying, all right, the Suns, I want PJ in this deal. Like, I want PJ in this deal. Yeah, of course, picks would have to be included. The moment PJ gets included in this deal, you're looking at Gafford, PJ. I absolutely think that's enough to get you to the finish line in this trade. I don't think Kevin Durant's market's going to be that big this year. PJ and Gafford, I think, gets you there. You just have to make contracts work. I think the Suns look at that and say, all right, we're getting like really solid role guys to plug next to KD and some picks, or next to Booker. We get some picks. Like, we're probably not getting a lot in return for KD. Yeah, the depth would be a big concern. I mean, you'd have to basically get on your hands and knees and pray that something just happens with Omax. You'd have to pray for health. You'd have to really hope that Christie takes a leap, and you'd have to really strike gold in the. You'd have to really strike gold. If KD's traded 100% Book last out, Book's not staying through another rebuild. Yeah, but I think the Suns could frame it as we're not rebuilding. We're getting like depth, really solid role guys to plug alongside Devin Booker. And then you got to pay. I mean, like, I'm telling you, the reason why I sound getting excited is because I think this is. I really do. My heart of heart thinks this is going to happen. I do. If I had to bet where I think KD gets traded, I honest to God think it's going to be the Mavs. I honestly do believe it. Now, that being said, is it going to be a good move? I'm not entirely sure about that. Copium. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of I think they're going to do some shit like that. They're going to have to get a creator in the offseason. They know that. They know that for sure. Somebody else who can create for themselves offensively. Now, that could be a kind of a smaller move. You know, that could be like pairing Najee's money and Gafford. I think Gafford's getting traded in the offseason. Only reason I'm saying that is he's going into the last year of his contract. I can't imagine they'd be willing to pay a decent amount of money for who's essentially their third string center. A guy who, if people are healthy, is not closing games. PJ is also going into the last year of his contract, but I think they'll pay him. They're not going to pay Gafford $20+ million. I don't know if that's even what Gafford's going to get. I honestly doubt it. But so you could go Gafford. You could go Gafford and Najee's money. That gets you in the 20s right there. You can go for maybe a cheaper guard option, like a Sexton or something. Haynes, is there an actual interesting Haynes brief? Anyways, that's San Antonio Spurs will sign center Bismack Biyombo for the remainder of the season. 80 KD Kyrie greater than Luka KD Kyrie. No. Defensively, yeah. Oh, man. This is going to be such an interesting. It would be funny if the Mavs just did nothing this offseason. You have to admit it would be fun to watch the 10 games they're on the floor together. Oh, hell yeah, it would be fun. I mean, come on. Of course it would be fun, bro. Of course it would be fun. That team is disgustingly good. So remember Hardy hot stretch this year? What happened? He's just he has zero confidence whatsoever right now. Zero confidence. I didn't know until last night that Taj Gibson was in the league. It was funny listening to the broadcast, and Harp was like, Taj Gibson can still give you so much. And I'm like, Are you saying like on the court? I was like, I don't really know about that.